Oh, hello there. Didn't see you. It's me, Nitin,
What the hell was that?
the fake Malyali, back with the daily raid. And welcome back to the channel, pretty much. The last time we spoke, we were talking about the snakeboard races. And today we have another breakdown, this time of one of the most popular leagues in the world, the NBA. So let's get right into it. Let's start off with the history of the NBA, or as everybody knows it, the National Basketball Association. So the NBA was founded back in 1946, with its inaugural season being the 1946-47 season. Since then, it's been going on for around 77 years now, and currently we're in the middle of the 2023-24 season. Now, the way the NBA season works is it starts in October every year and ends in April of the next. So, the 2023-24 season started in October of 2023 and will end in April of 2024. So, what do you need to know about the league? Well, pretty much there are 30 teams in the NBA. These teams are split 15 each into two different conferences, the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. Each team plays about 82 games in the regular season, which means that each season is action-packed with close to 1,230 games in total. But how are these teams formed and what are the major teams in the NBA? Well, we'll get right into that by me trying to list every single team that's there. It's going to be a tough task because that's 30 teams and well, I'd like to keep this video as short and sweet as possible, but let's get into it. Let's start off with the Western Conference. So as we all know, there are 15 teams in the Western Conference and each team pretty much represents a major city in the United States. For the West, you've got the Denver Nuggets, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Portland Trail Blazers, the Utah Jazz, the Golden State Warriors, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Phoenix Suns, the Sacramento Kings, the Dallas Mavericks, the Houston Rockets, the Memphis Grizzlies, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the team whose jersey I'm wearing right now, the San Antonio Spurs. Now we'll take a look at the 15 teams in the East. So, I think it's becoming pretty clear that the Western teams are usually in the west of the United States, and the Eastern teams are, in the east of the United States. I don't know why I'm stating the obvious, but anyway, you've got the Boston Celtics, the Brooklyn Nets, the New York Knicks, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Toronto Raptors, the Chicago Bulls, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Detroit Pistons, the Indiana Pacers, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Atlanta Hawks, Miami Heat, which is my favorite team by the way, the Charlotte Hornets, the Orlando Magic, and the Washington Wizards. Now, naming all the teams is all well and good, but how does it really matter to you? Well, the thing with the NBA and India is that while it is a very popular league here, it hasn't really reached the heights that one would expect. So, despite the fact that it's been around for 77 years, it still hasn't reached the level of popularity that another international league like the Premier League, the La Liga, the Champions League, and various other international cricket tournaments has reached in India. And the reason for that is not many people, know that much about the sport of basketball, not many people watch it here, and not many people know about the NBA as a whole. So to make things easy and to get people a little into the game, I've thought about maybe perhaps correlating an IPL team with an NBA team. So if you have a favorite IPL team, these are the teams in the NBA I think you would love to support. Let's get right into it with the first team. With all due respect to the people I'm going to be offending now, we're going to start off with the weakest team in the IPL and go all the way to the top. And the weakest team in the IPL over the years that it's been active is the Delhi Capitals. They have the worst win percentage in the IPL. And they're not that good. And that's why if you are a Delhi Capitals fan, the team you should support is the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets are a relatively new team in the NBA. They've been around for a while, but they've had a lot of brand changes over the years. They started off as the Hornets in the 80s and 90s, then became the Bobcats, and now are back to being the Hornets. Which kind of like the Delhi Capitals story, starting off with the Daredevils and then going to becoming the Capitals. But either way, they both haven't really done anything in the NBA or the IPL for that matter. The next team we're going to look at is the Punjab Kings. The Punjab Kings are another team that haven't really done much in the years that they've been active. There have been times when they've had some goodish teams that look like they could challenge. They finished runners up in a year or so, and that's why if you're a Kings 11 Punjab or Punjab Kings fan, you should support the Brooklyn Nets. The reason for that is just like the Punjab Kings, the Brooklyn Nets have had some talented teams over the years. They've had some great players come through their ranks like Jason Kidd, Vince Carter, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, some of the more recent guys, but they still haven't really achieved anything. They do have 2 championships from before they joined the NBA and were part of this separate league called the ABA, which we won't get into. But since joining the NBA, they haven't been that successful, and that is pretty much why the Punjab Kings fans should support the Brooklyn Nets. We're going to go to the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Now, the Sunrisers Hyderabad, unlike the 2 previous teams, they do have the 3rd worst win percentage in the IPL, but they have found success in the IPL as well. They do have an IPL title to their names, and when they were the Deccan Chargers, technically it is a part of their history, they won a title too. But in the last 5-6 years, despite having some great players here and there, they haven't really done much with it. And that's why, if you're a Sunrisers Hyderabad fan, you should support my favorite team in the NBA, which is the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat are an incredibly run organization that have had some incredible players over the years. They've got 3 NBA championships to their name, but even then, in recent times, it's been a bit of a struggle. They have a great team and they have made it to the finals on a regular basis over the past 3 years, but they just can't get the job done. The next team we're going to look at is actually my favorite team in the IPL. Of course, I support RCB, the Royal Challengers Bangalore. And it's been tough. We've had great teams over the years, but I've just done nothing with it. We're still hoping for that one title that we really need, but it just doesn't seem like it's in the cards for us. And that's why, if you're an RCB fan like me, you should ideally be supporting the LA Clippers. The Clippers are a team that has been around for such a long time, but they have never ever won an NBA championship. And that's even though they've had some great, amazing players on their team. I mean, just their current roster right now looks like they could win a championship, but it just doesn't seem like it'll happen, no matter how talented the team is. And that's why, if you support RCB, you should support the LA Clippers. Moving on, we go to the Rajasthan Royals. Now, the Rajasthan Royals are a historic team in the IPL because they won the first ever edition of the tournament. If you are a Rajasthan Royals fan, you should support another team that has been in the NBA for a very long time and one of the most important teams to the NBA's history, the New York Knicks. Now, the New York Knicks are a franchise that has given their fans a lot of heartache over the years. They've had some times when they've had some really great players and they look like they're about to win it, but they just can't. That's why the last time they ever won some championships were in the 70s, I believe. But now they do seem to have a talented young roster and looks like they could do something with it, much like the Rajasthan Royals. But only time will tell if they actually win a championship after decades and decades of having a barren trophy cabinet, so to speak. Now we pretty much get into like the top 5 teams in the IPL. And well, if you support these teams, you have some great choices in terms of teams you can support that are doing exceptionally well right now, and maybe some teams that have some historical greatness as well. If you're a Kolkata Knight Riders fan, you should support the Chicago Bulls. Both the Knight Riders and the Chicago Bulls have had some big names to them, The Knight Riders obviously had Gautam Gambhir, who led them to 2 IPL trophies during his time as captain. And the Chicago Bulls have had probably the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Jordan obviously led the Chicago Bulls to 6 championships, so there is a huge difference between 2 and 6. But the fact of the matter is, just like KKR, the Chicago Bulls haven't won anything for years now. The last time KKR won an IPL was probably about a decade or so ago, and for the Chicago Bulls, it's been even longer, like 20 plus years, 26 plus years since they won. Next up, we've got the Mumbai Indians, the most winningest franchise in IPL history. One of the many teams I hate because I'm an RCB fan, but you gotta give them their props. They've won the most IPL championships. They're historically one of the best teams in the IPL, and because of the history that they have as winners, if you're a Mumbai Indians fan, you should support the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are one of the 2 most successful franchises in the NBA with 17 championships to their name. And like the Mumbai Indians, who have a great roster heading into the new IPL season, the Boston Celtics have a team that looks like they could have won an NBA championship in the last 3 years. And right now, they look like they could win it this year as well. Moving on, we go to the Lucknow Super Giants. Now, the Lucknow Super Giants are one of the newer teams in the IPL. They joined in along with the next team we'll be talking about, but they've been kind of here or there. They don't have an IPL trophy to their name. They have a lot of talented players over the last 2 seasons, 3 seasons that they've been here. But in all honesty, they really just have one bona fide superstar player, which is KL Rahul. And another team that just has one bona fide superstar player is the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks are led by a player many consider to be the second coming of Steph Curry, Trae Young. He's a sharpshooter, incredibly gifted guard, fast, got smooth handles, a great player, so to speak. Kind of like KL Rahul, but with the current teams they both have surrounding them, it just doesn't look like they'll win a championship. Now we go to the next team that I absolutely hate, the Chennai Super Kings. As an RCB fan, you can't help but not like CSK, but you cannot deny how great they've been in the IPL. They have won multiple championships, and just like they have yellow color jerseys, the team you should support if you're a CSK fan is the purple and gold of the Los Angeles Lakers. The LA Lakers have the same number of championships as the Boston Celtics, and the two share an incredible rivalry, much like how CSK has a great rivalry going with the Mumbai Indians as well. That being said, the Lakers' last championship was with LeBron James a few years back in 2020, and the CSK team did win the last one, but it still is up in the air whether they can win it again. Much like with the Lakers have an aging superstar in LeBron James. CSK is led by MS Dhoni, perhaps one of the greatest Indian cricketers of all time, but someone who's pretty much in the tail end of his career now. Now the final team on this list is the Gujarat Titans, and the Gujarat Titans are one of the newest teams in the IPL, and they are the team prior to CSK who won the IPL trophy. And because of the fact they're new, we're going to go with a new team that has recently won their first NBA championship, the Denver Nuggets. So the Denver Nuggets are led by this incredible player called Nikola Jokic, and in the past 3 years, you can never put it past them to win another NBA championship. Now granted, Gujarat Titans have lost their star captain, Hardik Pandya, but they're still an exceptional team with some exceptionally talented players, just like the Denver Nuggets. So if you're a fan of the Gujarat Titans, you should support the Denver Nuggets. So I hope these comparisons have helped you pick a team you'd like to support, but there's still so much we need to explain in the NBA, and we'll explore that right now. We've gotten into the regular season, that is the NBA, which is the 82 games that they play. But after the 82 games, how do they crown a champion? So once the regular season is done, it is immediately followed by the playoffs. Now, the way the playoffs work is the top 10 teams from each conference participate in the playoffs, with the teams finishing between 1 and 6 getting in automatically, and the teams that finish between 7 and 10 taking part in something called the play-in tournament. With the play-in tournament, two teams from the play-in tournament move into the playoffs, where they battle it out with the other 6 teams that have automatically qualified, and this is done in the 2 respective conferences, which is the Eastern and Western Conference. It works in such a way that the team that ranked first or seeded first in the regular season plays the team that ranked 8th or seeded 8th in the regular season in 7-game series. So at the end of the day, it isn't really just a one-night thing where the team that performs best on the night goes through to the next round. It really is about how you perform over a couple of games, and only the best teams and the most consistent teams have what it takes to move on. After the first round of the playoffs, each team that in each conference there is a semi-final and then a final before the actual NBA finals, which sees the best team in the Eastern Conference take on the best team in the Western Conference in another 7-game series, following which an NBA champion is crowned. But what about the other 5 teams in the 2 other conferences that don't really get to make the playoffs? Well, they have a chance to improve. And this is why one of the many reasons why the NBA is so exciting. It gives each and every team a chance to become a champion. And the way they do this is by allowing teams to build through something that they call the NBA draft. So most teams that are looking to become champions build through this draft. The way the draft works is that it's something that's very unique to American sports and something that could be employed in other sports as well. But it gives these poor NBA teams or the teams that haven't done really well a chance to recruit the top young talented basketball players in the United States and abroad as well. So usually the worst teams in the NBA end up with the best picks in this draft and allowing them to choose a future star around which they can build a potential championship roster, which is what makes supporting any team in the NBA so much fun, because you know if they do it right, you could be supporting and cheering on a winning team. So the draft aside, the reason why the NBA should be watched more regularly in India is because it provides excitement 24/7. It is one of the most fast-paced games in the world, the sport of basketball, and it's the same in the NBA. While the games do take place in a very odd hour early in the morning in India, there is at least one game every day, and the athleticism and skill on display is absolutely amazing. The NBA is a home for some of the most athletic and gifted people in the world. Now, the average fan would have heard of names like Michael Jordan, we mentioned earlier, Kobe Bryant, my favorite athlete of all time, rest in peace, LeBron James, the greatest basketball player right now, the greatest shooter of all time, Stephen Curry. These are some of the names that people would have definitely heard, but there are so many other talented players in this league as well. At first, you've got the Dallas Mavericks' Luka Doncic. He's a great player, hailing from Europe, has the potential to become one of the greatest of all time. Next, you have the player whose jersey I'm actually wearing. I don't know if you can see the name. It's Victor Wembanyama. Now, this guy is special. He's only 20 years old and he's 7'4". That's massive. The guy is a freak of nature and a freak of nature on the basketball court as well. He seems nigh unstoppable, and if you do want to support a guy who looks like he's going to be dominant for years to come, Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs are a team you should take a look at. Now, one of the reasons why Michael Jordan was so popular was because of his mentality, as was Kobe Bryant, and this player, Anthony Edwards, who plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves, has that same mindset. And I believe given the right system, right team, he is going to be a brilliant player to watch out for. The next person you've got is Ja Morant. Ja Morant is another great player, an explosive point guard with insane dunking ability and incredible athleticism. He does have his off-the-court problems, but he's still one of the best out there. and he plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. And finally, we have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's a brilliant playmaker, brilliant player, brilliant guard, and looks like a guy who could become one of the greats. Of course, these are just 5 of the great players, of the young talents that are there in the NBA. There are so many more to look at. But if this has piqued your interest, I invite you to keep looking and researching about what the NBA has to offer. But at the end of the day, the NBA, I'll say it again, is an incredible league that deserves recognition and more support in India. The league has already made expansions to continents like Africa, Europe, South America. It has a huge presence in China and East Asia. And I feel that if we can drum up some excitement for the NBA in India, a proper investment from the NBA could find its next destination in India. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned a little bit about the NBA, maybe piqued your interest a little bit to take a look at what this amazing league has to offer. But that's it for me. I'll catch you again later. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell your friends about the Daily Raid. Goodbye.